So the primary outcome of interest in this paper is enrolling in college within 3 years of expected high school graduation. So the reason we picked 3 years is that's the longest period of time that we observe every one of the students in our study. So those kids that were entering first grade back in the fall of 1997, they would have been expected 3 years from their sort of projected graduation date would have been 2011. So just to give you a sense of sort of the baseline college-going rates of the students in our study, among the African-American students, 36% enrolled either full-time or part-time in college within 3 years of their expected high school graduation. And for the Hispanic students, it was 45%. There also were a small number of students from other racial and ethnic groups who we, for the most part, set aside in this analysis because there's just too few of them to get reliable results. So if we look at the impact of using a voucher on the overall enrollment rate, full-time and part-time, of African-American students, we find a 24% increase. So that 36% baseline I told you about increases by 9 percentage points to 45%. So one way you can think about it is that it sort of closes the gap in our study between the Hispanic students and the black students, because for Hispanic students, we don't find much of an impact. That impact is concentrated in full-time enrollment. So there's not that much of an impact on part-time enrollment. The big impact seems to be on full-time enrollment, which is a 31% increase. So in the absence of a voucher, we find that 3% of the African-American students in our study go to a selective college. We define a selective college as one where the average SAT score of entering students is at least 1,100 on the old 1,600-point scale, and it has to be a 4-year college as well. So for any American, it's not very common to go to a selective college. And in New York City, for the students in our control group, the African-American students, was 3%. But being offered a voucher to go to private school increased that by 4 percentage points to 7%. So it actually more than doubled it. So the impact of this program wasn't just to move kids who were sort of on the margin of college, who wouldn't have gone without a voucher, and to move them into a part-time community college type program, or maybe they'd end up dropping out. That doesn't seem to have been the impact of the intervention. It does seem, in a lot of cases, to really have increased the quality of the colleges attended by these students, which I think increases my confidence that in the long run, you'll see impacts not just on enrollment, but on graduation as well. But of course, it's still too soon to tell that.